When people hear the word empath, they immediately picture a hero. They imagine a selfless, pure healer who naturally lives to fix everyone else's pain. On the surface, it sounds absolutely beautiful, almost saintly, like a superpower the world desperately needs. But there is a brutal, unspoken truth that nobody talks about on social media. Being an empath has a dark, heavy side, and carrying it every single day is completely exhausting. This isn't some peaceful, magical gift of pure light or a trendy label to wear proudly. For most people living through it, it is a severe psychological burden born directly from survival, rooted in childhood trauma, and hidden deep inside a heavy, tired heart. The harsh reality of daily life is that the world uses empaths as personal, emotional dumping grounds. Because you possess the rare ability to see, sense, and feel things that ordinary people completely miss, everyone around you naturally leans on you for guidance, validation, and healing. You become the unpaid therapist for friends, family, and co-workers. But while you are completely consumed with fixing broken souls and patching up their lives, your own mental health is quietly fracturing in the background. Let's finally stop romanticizing this condition as a beautiful blessing. When you pull back the curtain, it is a grueling way to live, and it comes with an incredibly steep price. Here are the 5 painful, hidden secrets behind the empath's dark side that explain exactly why it hurts so much to carry. Empaths do not just notice the energy in a room, they literally absorb it into their own nervous systems. You completely lack the emotional filters that protect normal people, meaning you attract broken individuals indiscriminately wherever you go. It is a bizarre daily occurrence where total strangers will walk straight up to you in a grocery store, a coffee shop, or a waiting room and suddenly unpack their deepest, darkest life trauma within 5 minutes of meeting you. They tell you about their divorces, their childhood pain, and their deepest anxieties before you even know their names. Even when you consciously try to close yourself off, put your headphones on, or look away, your natural disposition still acts as an invisible magnetic beacon that screams safe haven to broken people. The devastating dark side of being a natural healer is that your own joy, peace, and sanity are constantly being sacrificed on the altar of everyone else's comfort. You inevitably become an emotional sponge, soaking up toxic negativity, heavy anxiety, deep depression, and chaotic stress that does not even belong to you. You walk into a room feeling completely fine and leave minutes later feeling completely miserable, confused, and overwhelmed because you just inherited someone else's unseen baggage. The worst part is the sheer isolation of it all. You spend 100% of your time patching up everyone else's emotional wounds, listening to their problems, and holding their hands, while leaving yourself to bleed out quietly in the dark with no one checking in on you. People look at you and automatically think that because you can heal others, you must have your own life completely figured out. They see your compassion, your patience, and your ability to calm a chaotic situation, so they assume your inner world is just as peaceful, balanced, and filled with love. But that is one of the biggest illusions of the empath existence. The truth is that most empaths are fighting a brutal, silent war within their own minds every single day. You are constantly absorbing intense, overwhelming daily doses of external trauma, anger, and sadness from the people around you. This endless intake of toxic energy acts like poison to your nervous system, triggering massive internal chaos. It directly fuels deep depression, severe anxiety, and a crushing sense of low self-esteem. You become so flooded with everyone else's conflicting emotions that you completely lose track of your own, leaving you trapped in a cycle of constant self-doubt, second-guessing your own reality, and wondering if you are just losing your mind. Living at this extreme level of emotional intensity is not just tiring, it is completely soul-crushing and physically draining. Your brain is working overtime to process feelings that don't even belong to you, and when that emotional overload finally hits a breaking point, The overwhelm turns deeply self-destructive. It becomes a terrifying mental prison where the noise of the world is simply too loud to bear. Because empaths are notoriously terrible at asking for help, many secretly spiral into dangerous coping mechanisms just to survive. Without a healthy way to filter out or numb the constant psychological noise, you start looking for any escape hatch available. This is exactly how empaths quietly fall into addictive behaviors, whether it's abusing substances, overeating, doom scrolling, or locking themselves into toxic, harmful habits. You aren't doing it to chase a high. You are doing it out of pure desperation to quiet the raging, agonizing storm that you have been carrying for the rest of the world. In the chaotic world of dating and relationships, empaths are notoriously unlucky, almost like they are cursed to keep repeating the same heartbreaking cycle. It sounds incredibly unfair, but it is actually driven by a cruel, deeply ingrained law of psychological attraction. Your pure benevolence, your bottomless empathy, and your burning desire to heal people perfectly complement the massive, bottomless emotional emptiness of a textbook narcissist. You possess exactly what they lack, and they can smell it from a mile away. When a narcissist enters your life, they don't just fall for you. They predatory test your boundaries right from the very beginning. They start small, seeing how much of your kindness they can exploit, how much of your time they can demand, and how much disrespect you will tolerate before you say no. They feed off your high vibe energy, your light, and your validation like an emotional vampire, continuously draining your spirit until you are physically, mentally, and spiritually bankrupt with absolutely nothing left to give. It is a completely toxic, parasitic dynamic where they do all the taking and you do all the bleeding. Breaking this agonizing, repetitive cycle requires a massive, uncomfortable wake-up call. You have to completely stop looking for your own happiness, fulfillment, and self-worth in the broken people you are constantly trying to fix. You are a partner, not a rehabilitation center for damaged souls. It is a harsh truth to swallow, but you are not responsible for anyone else's bad behavior, their toxic childhood trauma, or their refusal to grow up. You have to realize that it is entirely okay and often necessary for your survival to show compassion from a very safe distance. You can wish someone well without letting them wreck your living room or destroy your peace of mind. If you do not start placing an incredibly high premium on your own worth and locking down your boundaries with iron chains, people will continue to treat you exactly like a free roadside pit stop. They will pull up to your life when they are broken down and empty, refuel their strength using your love, and then speed off into the sunset without looking back the moment they feel better, leaving you completely empty and stranded on the side of the road. Because you are an empath, you do not just love people. You love them completely to a fault, pouring every single drop of your soul into their happiness. But because you love this deeply, you have been exploited, used, and taken for granted more times than you can even count. You lived your life believing that if you just showed people enough kindness and understanding, they would treat your heart with the same care. Instead, every single time you lowered your guard and opened up your heart, your vulnerability was weaponized against you. The very things you shared in confidence were turned into tools to manipulate, gaslight, and control you. This pattern of betrayal creates a deeply painful, agonizing psychological paradox. The very people who possess the greatest capacity to love are the exact same people who find it incredibly difficult to ever fall in love again. You become trapped in a mental prison where you desperately want connection, but your mind views that very connection as an active threat to your safety. This intense trauma completely rewires how you view romance, turning you hypervigilant, deeply paranoid, and constantly on edge. You start analyzing every text message, questioning every compliment, and looking for hidden motives behind every kind gesture. Even when someone genuinely good, honest, and loving finally comes along, you can't even enjoy it because you are waiting for the other shoe to drop. Out of sheer psychological survival, you build massive, impenetrable walls and hold back major pieces of your heart. You refuse to let anyone see the real you because you are absolutely terrified of repeating that exhausting cycle of hope, exploitation, and crushing disappointment. You would rather stay lonely than stay broken, so you actively choose cold isolation over raw vulnerability. To a damaged empath, the idea of intense passion and deep romantic attraction no longer feels like a beautiful gift. It feels like a dangerous, calculated trap designed to pull you back into the emotional slaughterhouse. From the very core of your being, you are hardwired to give, support, and lift others up. But you are terribly, fundamentally broken when it comes to receiving that same energy back. It is almost like a glitch in your psychological operating system. Whenever someone tries to help you, buy you a gift, or show you support, you immediately feel uncomfortable, guilty, or like you are a massive burden. So instead, you completely shut down that receiving channel and channel 100% of your focus into giving. You will completely abandon your own basic needs, ignore your health, compromise your strict personal boundaries, and sometimes even sabotage your own financial or emotional well-being, just to keep the peace and make life comfortable for the people around you. You put yourself last so consistently that your own life becomes a chaotic, messy afterthought, while everyone around you thrives on your dime and your energy. But psychology, just like the physical world, operates on a very basic, unavoidable law of physics. If a reservoir constantly pours out massive streams of water without ever having rain to replenish it, it will eventually run completely dry. There are no exceptions to this rule. This is the absolute ultimate dark side of the empath existence. You give, fix, heal, and pour out your soul until there is literally nothing left of you but a hollow shell. You end up sitting in a state of absolute bone-deep depletion, emotionally bankrupt, mentally exhausted, and spiritually starved. And as you sit there in the quiet dark, totally drained from fighting everyone else's battles, you are left with a heavy, heartbreaking realization. You look around at all the people you saved, fixed, and mended, and you realize that none of them are looking back at you. You are left completely alone, staring at the ceiling, wondering a deeply painful question. Who is ever going to show up to save the person who saves everyone else? If this deeply hit home and described exactly what you are going through right now, please leave your thoughts and your personal story in the comments below. Let's actually talk about it and support each other in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel right now for more raw, real psychological breakdowns just like this one. Thank you so much for watching and take care of yourself.